Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the video. And don't forget to ring the notification bell. Thank you.
Homicide detective and Fox News contributor Ted Williams is live on the ground outside the house in Moscow, Idaho. Ted, I've been watching your reporting out there today, and you're really giving us some insight into the lay of the land here and which areas are blocked off and what kind of work they're doing there right now. What can you tell us, Ted?
Well, I can tell you that in the last few minutes, Martha, there's been some developments here where law enforcement is here on the crime scene, and they are blocking off the crime scene. What they're doing at the crime scene here is that they are broadening the crime scene. There's crime scenes tape up around the home, and what we are now finding is that part of the parking lot itself is being broadened off as part of the crime scene. Now, earlier I had spoken about the area of the crime scene, that the leaves and everything back here were rather undisturbed. And I spoke about the fact that the killer or killers
Have you guys noticed something in that video that stood out, at least to me? Look at that spot where there is some sort of automotive fluid on the ground. Now, it's fair to say that we don't know how long that stain has been there, but could that perhaps be something leaking from a vehicle that had been sitting watching the back of that house?
come out of what we have as a rear door back here. We don't really know that they did, but if they did, and if they wanted to get rid of their weapon, the knife that was used to kill these four young people, they could have dumped that knife anywhere back here. So I would have to believe at some stage or another, law enforcement is going to perform a grid search of this area just to clear it. I'm not saying that the murder weapon is back here, but primarily to make a determination if there's any physical evidence back here. Martha, this was a very gruesome murder scene, according to the medical examiner. According to the medical examiner, there was actually blood on the walls. And I can tell you, if we pan over, we're looking at the second and third story of this home.
If we are looking from this vantage point, you can see that had you been parked back there, you could look directly into the third floor bedrooms of Kaylee and Maddie, and you could also look into that kitchen area down below and perhaps Xana's room as well. We just don't have that camera shot to show, but that's more off to the left of the screen. Depending on if this person had binoculars or stepped out of the vehicle, what have you, it's definitely possible.
And as you look, these are the two sections where the bodies were supposed to have been found, on the second and third floor. Now, it is believed that there were two surviving individuals here that was on the second floor. I stand to be corrected, on the first floor of this home. Those individuals, 9 hours later, a call was put into law enforcement. Now, it is my understanding that before law enforcement arrived, that those individuals may have called others that came to this scene, meaning other civilians. The problem with that is there's always a concern of contamination of this scene. So all of these things are going on right now. But as we speak, law enforcement is here cordoning off this area, widening the area.
Yeah. Ted, you know, there are just so many questions here. Do the police, and I'm going to talk to one of the nearby police captains in just a moment, but have they let anything any knowledge come out about whether or not they believe this is someone who knew these victims or whether or not they think this is some sort of outside serial killer crazed person? Is there any indication of which way this is leading right now?
No, the one nugget that they gave us early on is that law enforcement believes that this was a targeted killing of these young 4 students. And so as a result of that, one of the things that we've tried to establish, and we don't know, and we've tried to get it from law enforcement, is do they actually know who was actually targeted here, Martha? And second of all, what was the focus and the motive for targeting that one person?
The 4 victims: Ethan, Maddie, Xana, and Kaylee. Why do they think one of those 4 people was a target, when at least we know 2 of them had to be, because they were in 2 groups, 2 separate floors? So there had to be a connection, unless the perpetrator walked into the wrong room on the 2nd floor and someone woke up and then proceeded to the 3rd floor. Now that would make perfect sense if someone had been studying the home from the back of it. Even if they had known about the front area of the home, it wouldn't be totally foreign, because a lot of homes are high ranch type homes, and there are stairs leading up to the main level of the home. In the East Coast, we call these high ranches. A lot of times in those kind of houses, the downstairs might have like a rec room and a laundry area. So, being that we know from the roommates that those doors were actually locked, they may not have known if those were bedrooms had they encountered them anyway. Here's what else we know about that front door.
And I talked to some neighbors who live nearby here too, John, a few hours ago. They told me something that was pretty interesting. We've been talking about that back sliding door so much, but the front door, I'm told by a neighbor who walked by that morning who was coming back to his apartment, was wide open around 8:39 a.m. He told me that he gave that information to investigators, but we hadn't heard too much about that front door, and around 8:39 a.m. would have been a pretty good amount of time before police ever got the call that those students were dead inside. John.
So what does the door being open before anyone was awake mean? Was someone staying over that night and left out the front door? Did the killer start from up top and work his way down, and when the doors were locked, just walk out that front door? We just don't know. Now, if the killer had gone out that front door and left it open, they would have had to walk around the side of the house out through the back, which makes the likelihood of them getting seen greater. However, that doesn't make it impossible. Let's talk about an app that we all know and love, Google Earth. We have used this app to look at this address hundreds of times. We do this constantly. Whenever we hear of an address, we Google Earth it and look it up. We check out the area using Google Earth. Well, what changed on Google Earth as of yesterday? This changed on Google Earth. The house has now been completely blurred out. Whether you go up or down the street, you cannot see it anymore. Could there be a clue in this Google Earth photo? Well, the only thing I could think of, since the license plates are blurred, was this cooler with Phi Kappa Tau on the front of it. So I looked into Phi Kappa Tau. Who connected might be in Phi Kappa Tau? Well, one of the most common names thrown around in this case. Do you remember this guy? Do you remember the video of the food truck? The gentleman that was watching over the girls to get them home safe? Well, that's Jack Showalter, and he belongs to Phi Kappa Tau. Now, could that have any significance? I don't know. That's purely speculation. Jack has become a hot topic because he was the last person seen on video with the girls. Watch this video and you will see Jack walk a separate direction once the girls get into a ride from an unknown vehicle. He may have gone to a parking lot, which I'll show you in a minute, that was adjacent to where the grub bus was parked. Across the street from that was a Wells Fargo drive-through ATM, so you can't park there. I'm going to place a sticker where the grub bus was parked. And there is the parking lot there. And you can see a better angle. And then the bank. The other reason he's been such a hot topic is because his Facebook profile, which I can no longer see, but I had some footage from it. He is a hunter. He is known to have hunting knives. And all over Facebook, people ran with that. Here is a picture of the knife that was shown in one of the hunting photos that he had on his Facebook page. Oh, we've just got breaking news in the case that Moscow police and the FBI are searching for a person who was in a 2011 to 2013 white Hyundai Elantra. They don't have a plate, and these are just stock photos, not photos of the actual vehicle. So you can see what one would look like. That was parked in the area the night of the crimes. If you have any information, please contact the Moscow tip line at 208-883-7180. Thanks again for watching this video. I'm going to cut it short so that I can look more into that. And I also have some concerns about other crimes committed on the 13th of the month in the surrounding states. Stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the notification bell.